Y'all, I know I'm late and I don't give a damn. All right. I went in the kitchen to pour me a drink because I looked at the stories tonight, y'all, and we probably gonna have about a 2-hour show. It's a lot. It is. A matter of fact, let me go get my lighter so I can light this candle real quick. Hold your line. Hold your line. Hold the line, honey. Hold it. Let me get a lighter. Hold your line. Here I come. I had to go get my lighter, child. I'm gonna light my 305 candle. We got a lot to talk about. And warning, top of the show is a little heavy on the political corner. We got about 6 political corner stories that we got to talk about. They're not heavy, but they are necessary. I found a new passion and purpose. It was this situation with Israel and Iran and the potential of World War III. After I did a conversation with Amanda Seals earlier today, and she kind of filled me in with some of the stuff. I'm just very, 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 very fascinated by all of this stuff. Now, I want to say this because I already see some of y'all in the comments talking about we don't want to hear about Amanda Seals. Well, you don't have to talk about Amanda Seals. We're not talking about Amanda. It's not about Amanda. But I will say this. Regardless of your feelings about Amanda, Amanda's not on the show tonight. Regardless of your feelings about Amanda, if you are somebody who, much like myself, you don't understand much of what's going on with that stuff over there in Israel and Palestine and Gaza, then I think it would be worth you getting the information. And if you don't get it from me, and if you don't get it from Amanda, you need to go get it from wherever you can get it. But the threat of us going to war is very real. And from the time that I did the interview today at 4:30 with Amanda up until now, so many other things have also developed in that Iran-Israel war space. And it's true what they say, ignorance is bliss, because before I got plugged in, be honest with you, I really didn't care. I didn't know much. It wasn't impacting me. It doesn't impact my daily life. But then once I stepped into the light with Caroline, I was like, oh crap. My eyes are now going to be glued to all the news going on about what's going on in the Middle East, y'all. There is 4 wars going on right now. 4 of them. 4 of them. And I don't know all the ins and outs of everything, but this is a little bit that y'all need to know. Iran ain't playing with nobody else. Okay? Iran is not playing with nobody else. Okay? And they told the US basically run up and get done up. Iran has let it be known that if the US gets their ass involved, that they prepared to fight. Iran. Y'all love police in my damn my vernacular. I'm from Miami, bitch. Iran. Okay. Iran. So, part of the conversation that Amanda and I had earlier was talking about the threat of nuclear weapons in other country having nuclear weapons, and how the US and others have come together and said who can and who can't have nuclear weapons. And I found that to be funny. I want to just educate y'all really quickly. Take a look at this small clip so we can get into some of the contradictions going on with the US of A.
Israel has had nuclear weapons since the 1960s in direct violation of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which they, of course, refused to sign in the first place. Israel has somewhere between 90 and 200 nuclear warheads as part of its military arsenal, and to this day has never openly admitted to possessing such weaponry. They've also consistently refused to allow inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency to visit their nuclear facilities. They even had a strategic technological partnership with apartheid South Africa, where they aided the apartheid government in building and successfully testing a nuclear weapon in 1979. Under its own laws, the US is prohibited from providing aid to countries that have weapons of mass destruction.
Now catch that. Under its own laws, the US is prohibited from providing aid to countries who have weapons of mass destruction.
In contravention of the NPT. And as the US pursues all-out war against Iran, a country with no nuclear weapons to speak of, Israel benefits from the full military backing of the US and receives a higher proportion of US aid than any nation in the world. Israel has had nuclear...
Ain't that something? So per our own laws, we ain't supposed to provide aid to nobody who possess nuclear weapons. Yet we going to war with Iran. They ain't got no nuclear weapons, and Israel is getting all of the aid. That's one thing I want to let y'all talk about. Here's another guy I found on social media, and I'm giving you guys these different clips so you can understand some of the various puzzle pieces of this situation. I still don't understand it all in this totality, but I'm starting to come into the light with some of the checkers and chess that's being played on our international political field. So Russia, who used to be our friend with Trump, Russia has now told the US that if they help Israel fight Iran, that baby, it's going to be all out nuclear war down to this bitch. Take a listen.
News, Russia has just warned the US that if Trump decides to go to war with Iran, it could create a nuclear catastrophe for the region. Russian state officials warned Trump that if the US gets directly involved in attacking Iran, it will escalate tensions throughout the entire world, especially since Russia is deeply connected to Iran. Russia Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said on Wednesday this would be a step that would, quote, radically destabilize the entire situation. The head of Russia's SVR Foreign Intelligence Service, Sergei Narishkin, has said the situation between Iran and Israel is now critical, and Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said the Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear infrastructure meant the world was, quote, millimeters from catastrophe. She also said nuclear facilities are being struck. Where is the concern from the entire world community? Where are all the environmentalists? I don't know if they think they are far away, that this radiation wave won't hit them. Well, let's look at what happened at Fukushima, referencing what happened in Japan in 2011. Folks, not only would US involvement in Iran lead to so many civilians being unalive, not just from the US bombs, but from the radiation fallout as well, but then you have the fact that Russia and Ukraine are still at war. Trump has not been able to get a peace deal signed there either. So that would be two wars on Trump's hands, and everything is getting worse because of our failure of a president. We have some
Okay. Then, girl, we gotta get in. Israel is God's chosen people. People better leave Israel alone. Israel is God's chosen people. People better leave Israel alone. That's Christ's chosen people. And you think Jesus won't help them? Read Revelations. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that where it's at. I'm gonna leave that where it's at. Two more stories, then we're out of the war, guys. Y'all sister Candace Owens. I call her MAGA Mammy. Now that MAGA Mammy has been kicked out of the big house, she has no problem, having unfavorable opinions for Donald Trump and calling him out on his gaslighting, so on and so forth. And if you're anything like me, it's just hard to take Candace Owens serious in every capacity, right? A broken clock is wrong twice a day. And Candace Owens, I've come to realize, she's right more than she's wrong. 98% of the time, Candace Owens is right for all the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? She's right for all the wrong reasons. And I find it, Candace Owens pre the election would have never been this bold in challenging Trump. Now that they don't fell out, MAGA mammy, she letting it be known she really ain't his friend and calling him out for being a gaslighter and all of this type of stuff. And the only thing that bothers me about Candace Owens and this whole thing is that the very personality attributes that you're calling out in this clip that I'm about to show you guys were the same personality attributes when you were his bed wench. They were there. Now, all of a sudden, you want to describe him as a gaslighter when he was a gaslighter from the very beginning of the situation. Please take a listen to this and let's weigh in.
Oh, the lack of consistency, it is stunning to watch Trump do this. He's all over the place right now on social media. I mean, he initially signaled right away that America had nothing to do with what happened in Iran, that America was not going to get involved, that he was negotiating peace. Then he signaled that he didn't have any idea that the attack was coming, but also that he did know that the attack was coming. And now he's tweeting we. He's literally using we to describe what is happening in Iran right now. Let's just take a look at some of these tweets. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. Oh, well, hey, yeah, we've got our planes in the skies. Okay, American troops might die, but USA, 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 because our stuff is so good and good looking in the sky. The big bad American planes are in the sky. What does he think? We're stupid? And the people online that are trying to pretend that we are the ones betraying Trump for holding him accountable to his promises that he made to us when we voted for him, when we encouraged other people to vote for him. You're pretending that we're the ones that are problematic. This level of gaslighting that's taking place. You got Laura Loomer out there saying, screenshot every tweet that's against Donald Trump. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. You better start capturing Donald Trump's tweets that are going out right now because they seem pretty against Donald Trump's ideas of yesteryear. That's all I'm saying. Everything that he said, every bit of BS that he called out, calling out the neocons, the people that right now.
So again, everything she's saying out of her mouth is 100% factual and correct. I just question her motives. And because I question your motives, I have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. We really just don't want anything from you, Candace. We don't want the truth or the lies from you. And that's going to always be the obstacle with trying to reveal or trying to receive anything that Candace Owens has to say. Now, I don't like Donald Trump using the word we as a response to a war that we're not supposed to be a part of. The fact that his senile ass is using the word we signals to me that we're already involved. We are already viewing this as a situation that we must manage and control. And I am scared because the US has been a bully to a lot of countries for a long time. And we got this inflammatory ass president and his ego who are dealing with other ego-driven people who have just basically said, listen, we understand that there's going to be casualties of war, but we ready. We ready. And for some reason, I am scared of that man in Iran. Okay. And not scared because I think he's a horrible person, just scared in the fact that I don't think that man is scared of us. And I also don't trust Israel. All right. The more and more I start to go down the rabbit hole of reading up on this war stuff and kind of getting myself acclimated, Israel has a vested interest in getting us involved in that war. So much so, and history has already shown false flags where they create a situation, blame it on them other folks, and falsely get us involved. We need to be very careful because both Israel and Iran have cells in America. And while we too busy looking up in the sky, waiting for a missile to come bomb our ass, they already here. Baby, you don't threaten to go to war with the US if you don't already got your shit situated. Okay? And they gonna bomb the hell out of our ass. Second thing I want to mention. I need all of my economy voters. All of my economy voters. Where y'all at? Oh, I'm voting for him because of the economy. The economy. It's all about the economy. You always know people full of shit when they use that economy excuse, because if at no point in your life you should have been worried about the economy, it should be about when we about to go to war, when all of our resources get diverted to war efforts. Where my economy people at? All the Trump economy people, y'all should literally be outside right now marching next to them ICE protesters because y'all so worried about y'all taxes. Y'all taxes. And y'all benefits. All of the immigrants getting all the benefits, people, y'all. If it was truly about the money for you, then you should be somewhere right now worried as hell about us getting ready to go to war. One other thing with this Israel stuff, and it piggybacks off of the comment that the person made about Israel being God's chosen people. And this is why I find this clip to be prudent that I'm about to play. Tucker Carlson embarrasses the hell out of Ted Cruz. Take a look.
In Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the...
It's in Genesis. So you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it and you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Well, hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what... Hold on. Define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel... Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless...
Listen. And y'all know I can have a lot of fun with this because I love stirring up y'all Christians and I love stirring up blindly religious people. I do. It makes me feel good to make blindly religious people look stupid. It really does, because I'm just so anti-religion. But Ted Cruz sat up here and gave us nothing but a gaslit word salad. All right? Sat up here and gave us nothing but a gaslit word salad, because if we're being honest, the physical place right now that they are calling Israel came about in what was it, 1940s or 1950s or something like that. And I love the way Tucker Carlson challenged him. Support Israel, the government of Israel. And you could tell Ted Cruz was upset because Ted Cruz was like, you're supposed to be an ally, Tucker. Like, Ted Cruz didn't understand this new Tucker Carlson. And he's like, wait a minute, Tucker. You're my Fox News friend that throws me a softball. You don't challenge me publicly. You let me go along and do whatever I want to do. I don't know this new Tucker Carlson that calls out contradictions and whatnot. And I loved it. I love it. You know, I told y'all on the other show a couple nights ago that Tucker Carlson is one of the most dangerous people that there can ever be, because he don't have no allegiance to nothing outside of himself. This Tucker Carlson that we just saw speaking on this platform is not the same Tucker Carlson that was cashing checks from Fox News prior to this election. And so it's just very odd and unstable now to watch Tucker be in this position, but I definitely do like it. And yeah, call these people out on their BS. You know, in order for this power structure, guys, and this government and this administration and a lot of those other things to be torn down and rebuilt in the proper way, it's going to have to come from white people. And that's just the reality of the situation. When it's all said and done, when it is all said and done, the change that needs to happen in this country is going to have to come from white people. We can only fight to a certain level and get us to a certain point, and anything beyond that, they the ones who all control it. Somebody said Tucker Carlson is still very much a racist. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I get it. He's loyal to no one other than his paycheck. All right, guys. I found this one interesting. And it is our second to last story in the political corner. Then we can get to some of the fun stuff. Donald Trump is now backpedaling and pussy popping on the ICE deportations. Take a listen.
Statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, you know, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, you know, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you know, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that. Put out a statement.
The fear mongering is astounding. Still holding on to this narrative that immigrants are murderers and killers. And where are all of my, the immigrants are taking our jobs, people? Where y'all at? Where are all my economy and the immigrants are taking our jobs? Because from where I sit, we got several whole industries that got job vacancies right now. Leisure, agriculture, construction. You got the president of the United States operating as Robert Half and Account Temp's temp agency right now, letting the whole world know these people is hiring. They're taking our jobs. Well, they just gave them back. They're taking our jobs. They just gave them all back. Wait, this ain't going right. This not going right. The immigrants is taking the jobs from Americans. And the Latinos only hire Latinos, and we can't get no jobs. So if we can't get no jobs, it would seem to me that the first thing he would have been saying was, you know, oh, there's shortages, but we're going to fill these jobs with good, hardworking American people. Where is that rhetoric? Where is that? I got into an argument with somebody on Facebook talking about, that's a lie, that white men do want to do construction jobs and that white men do want to do the farm jobs, but they just can't get them because the immigrants have got a stronghold on those jobs. Where are they at? Our farmers are located in middle of America. Middle of America is overwhelmingly white. Where they at? Where is the program sponsored by the federal government that say we will help you relocate from Miami to Oklahoma to work the fields? Where are the programs? Where is the free bus tickets from the states and the incentives saying anybody that wants to do American farm work, we will help you relocate to the middle of Nebraska? Where y'all at? The immigrants said we finna leave and let y'all have y'all jobs back. But y'all don't want the jobs. But when I said it and when we tried to tell y'all that there wasn't nobody gonna do them jobs, y'all thought they taking all our jobs. I'm gonna tell you one thing. If they think black jobs is farm jobs, they got another thing coming, because we have an aversion to that type of work that's cellular in nature, and it goes down into our DNA. Let me tell you one thing about black people in America. Bitch, we'll die of starvation before we get back out there. And that's just the God honest truth. Bitch, we will be sitting here and watch our kids die and starve and have them big swollen bellies like them kids in Africa before we go back out there. That's the God honest truth. What the old Negro spiritual say, I'd rather go to my grave before I be a slave. We would just sit up here and starve. Black people, we would sit up here and eat each other before we go back out there in them damn fields. It's not happening. And for whatever reason, white people feel they above it. When I did the video the other day talking about the Latinos and just how people were so blinded by this man and what he was giving off, how they did not have the foresight to see any of this. And again, y'all always take exception when I say racism is mental illness. And I'm not saying it to excuse away their bad behavior, but I call it mental illness because somehow or another, it keeps the brain from functioning 100% properly, right? Q, what do you mean by that? From where I sit in Atlanta, Georgia, I already knew and saw that being in favor of all this immigration stuff, I had already saw how it was going to impact industries that relied on immigrant labor. And I'm just not understanding for the life of me how people allowed their hate to blind them of their economics. I know that I'm not the smartest person in the world. So if I saw it, how is it possible that so many other people did not see that what you were doing is going to lead to your own demise? And so you watched just how easy a simple press conference like this from Trump will begin to sway and soften the rhetoric used around immigrants. You watch and see, we begin to see a decline in all this ICE stuff. Okay? You watch and see this man come back and lie and say something like, all right, guys, we've closed the border and we've got everything under control and we've thrown the immigrants. We've got enough of them out that America is back on track, and you watch them fall for it. Also, pay attention to how the corporations, the billionaires got in his ass. The people over the farms of America got in his ass. The lobbyists for the tourism industry got in his ass. He runs hotels. He's probably seeing his own demise in his ass. And now it's like, oh. We got appreciation for these people now. And I hate it because their desperation is going to be exploited. I wish that they had enough leverage where they were able to say, screw y'all, we're not going back to doing it, but they need it. And it's insulting and it's embarrassing and it's shameful on this country, because what all of this translates to, and I know people don't like the slavery comparisons, but it's giving a Civil War tease. It's giving a Civil War tease. It's giving, we need our slaves in order to be economically prosperous. That's what it's giving. And I tell y'all too, even on this show that we're doing, I am so uncomfortable with how we just casually have conversation about a whole group of people and we reduce them to nothing but field hands. It makes me uncomfortable. Whenever we have conversations about this group of people, we always speak about them in reference to them being cheap labor who we don't give insurance benefits to and oftentimes pay under the table. And we do it out loud with no problems. And so we ask ourselves, how did everybody just go along with slavery back in the day the same way we going along with this shit? This is how. I ain't a slave, so it don't really bother me. I just want my strawberries for 69 cents. That's literally what we're doing. We talk so freely about these people being nothing more than cheap labor, and we do it boldly. That makes me feel a little uncomfortable, guys. Makes me feel a little uncomfortable. This is our last political corner story, and then we can get the hell up out the political corner. Woo! Trump administration bans plans to terminate the 988 suicide prevention services tailored for LGBTQ youth in July. He announced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration that starting July 17th, the crisis hotline will be shut down. Anyone reaching out to the 988 lifeline will still have access to crisis counselors ready to assist with issues like suicidal thoughts, substance misuse, mental health crisis, or any other emotional struggles. However, the dedicated LGBTQ plus services have been discontinued. CNN reported that the 988 Lifeline launched back in 2022. It included a specific sub-network for LGBTQ plus folks. This allowed callers to connect directly with counselors trained to support LGBTQ plus people. Some of y'all hate it when race is compared to LGBTQ, but the reality of the situation is different groups have different needs. Point blank period. Different groups have different needs. In this moment, it's not about if you agree with trans or don't agree with trans. It's not about if you think gay is right or biblically wrong. It's not about any of that. Regardless of if you think trans is wrong and all this different stuff, it does not negate the fact that this subgroup of people have a specific set of needs that a general counselor may or may not be able to speak to. And this is the living embodiment of the Martin Luther King quote that says, what is it? Injustice for one is injustice for all, or something to that effect. The Latinos are finding out the hard way right now. Y'all thought it was cool. Y'all thought injustice was cool just as long as it was over there. But now that it ain't over there and it hit your door, now you crying for sympathy and empathy and compassion and all these different things. You ain't got to agree to have empathy. You ain't got to support it to recognize that they're human. You ain't got to religiously agree with it to not understand that everybody, regardless their walk of life, deserves the same level of treatment, access, and to be treated like human. All right, guys. Something else that's a little disheartening, but this one's a little more lighthearted, a little positive. The FDA has approved its first ever twice yearly HIV prevention shot that nearly eliminates the new infection. So I was reading up on this, guys, earlier, And in its clinical trials, the long-acting injectable medication reduced new HIV infections by 100% amongst participants, offering a groundbreaking alternative to daily PrEP pills like Truvada or Descovy. So for those who know about PrEP, daily pill, take every day, helps prevent you from contracting HIV. Now they've got a shot, which is great. Being able to take a shot 2 times a year is always better than having to take a pill every day. My birth control girlies, y'all know that. You know, it was very disheartening for me to read the comments on the post surrounded around this and how so many people were anti-shots. So many people were anti-shots. So many people were like, I don't trust it. So many people were like, it's giving the COVID-19 tease. And I'm like, wow, this is a moment, I think, in humankind that we should be celebrating, right? Like, I definitely think we are on the road to potentially being able to eradicate this thing and HIV be behind us the way smallpox and polio and some of these other things were from back in the day. So it was just weird to me. Now, here's what I'm going to say before I bring our guest on. If you let me tell it, there's already a cure for HIV. If you let me tell it. Now, when I went to Florida State University and got my degree in economics, them people ain't teach me shit about medicine. But if you let me tell it, there is already a cure. And they just keep, it's kind of like with these iPhones. They just keep dripping and dripping and give us just a little bit of technology, just enough to make us feel like progress, keep us hopeful, and keep us paying. It's kind of hard and scary to think that there may potentially be a world where people created this disease and other diseases on purpose to eradicate certain populations of human beings. And I'm not one of those conspiracy theory type people, and I don't want to buy into that type of logic, but there are at times that it really does feel that way. Anywho, let me see where I want to go. Let's do this, and then I'm gonna bring our guest on. Let's do this because we can have some fun with this, lighten things up a little bit. Brittney Renner says she ain't Muslim no more, bitch. Wait, bitch, she said it was too motherfucking hot with that hijab on. Mama said it was too hot, and she took that shit off. Listen, girl, Brittney Renner, you stuck with it almost long enough to get me to buy into it, baby. She said, work ain't honest, but it pays the bill. She said she had to get back out to selling that puss. Okay, and she said the high roller men don't want no puss and no hijab. She said they don't want no Muslim puss. Baby, she had to took that thing off. I always knew the bitch was an opportunist. I always felt that Muslim shit was her next hustle. I always felt like it was her next hustle. So guys, newly converted Brittney Renner is now posting without her hijab and making it clear that she has no regrets. In her latest post, she wrote, I don't have blind loyalty to any person, place, or thing. And it's still, I don't know how to pronounce that, Amalumadulia for everything. This comes after publicly embracing Islam. Now she's saying she's not interested in shrinking herself to fit anywhere. Meaning the men's couldn't get to the pussy quick enough, wrapped up in all that goddamn fabric. Okay, bitch walking around with 7 yards of goddamn Joanne's fabric on. It was hot up under there. It was hot up under there. And here's the gag. Okay, here's the gag. And I mean no disrespect, but I'm finna be real ignorant. I don't blame her for not wanting to be in that damn shit because it's hot. Okay, it's hot. Muslim women, I feel bad for y'all. I really do. And this is me speaking as an ignorant American who does not know much of anything about the Muslim culture. And I promise you, and I'm not trying to offend you, but y'all don't feel no type of way when y'all see other people walking up and down the street with shorts on in 100-degree weather. Like y'all don't sit at home. I need my Muslim girls, like, y'all don't sit at home and be like, damn, I wish I could look like the girls in the music video just one time. Y'all don't ever want to go to like Zara and Forever 21 and get a short set or a sundress or a maxi dress. Y'all don't ever just feel like, why we got to have this hot shit on and everybody else look cute? Like, I'm just confused. And again, I'm speaking as an ignorant American. The shit just look oppressive as hell to me. If I'm being honest, and please don't kill me, it don't look like it's nothing fun about being Muslim. I'm just being honest. It don't look fun. It don't look fun. It look too restrictive. Girl, I work, and I don't mean to be making fun of these people, religion, but when I worked down at Cox, bitch, it was a girl down there who had to go to HR and get approval to use the birthing room where the women pump their milk at, because we didn't really have a lot of pregnant women down to the job, and the room was ended because she needed to pray every damn hour. Okay, like, it just seemed inconvenient. It's hot and inconvenient to be in all that stuff. Oh, somebody said, oh, I got somebody Muslim. They said, no, we get used to it and we wear nice stuff in the house. Well, you ain't got your thing on in this picture, so you Brittney Renner anyway. I don't know if we trust your opinion. You one of them American Muslims. You go on somewhere, Lima, WP Lima. But y'all get into Brittney Renner, child. This is hilarious that she played with these people's religion. And just go read a book, honey. Go back to school. Go back to school, read a book, get some mentoring by some strong Black female figures to finally get your life on track, Miss Brittney Renner. And with that being said, I want to bring two people to the stage that have been down there in the break room, down there in the lobby. Robin, take me off of mute. I got Tony Williams and I got Robin Petit on the line. Tony and Robin, welcome to Funky Dineva Live. How are you guys doing?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for having us. I mean, you are crazy.
And I'm sitting here looking at Robin down there laughing the whole time. So listen, all my educators out there, all of my people who are connected with education, all of my parents out there that have children, this segment is for you because Tony is an author with a very, very, very unique story. And Robin is Tony's former counselor in school. And I'm going to allow Tony to tell the story. But Robin helped Tony find who he was and who he became. And he wrote this book about his experiences and being tutored under somebody like Robin. So big shout out to all our educators. But Tony, you and Robin, go ahead and introduce yourselves and let us know why you are on my line.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us on the line. As I told you before, this has been one of my kind of like dreams as I progress with writing this book. But I'm Tony Williams. I am the author of Tony Pops the Bubble. And it's simply a play on my life and how my high school counselor, Miss Robin Pettit, really changed my life. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I grew up in poverty. I've been homeless. I've been around drug addictions, gangs, and things like that. And so as a kid, as a teenager, I dealt with a lot of doubt and fear. And so going to school, it was just really hard for me to focus. And I met Robin my junior year in high school, and she kind of tapped into me. She saw something special in me. She saw that I was dealing with specific things that were temporary. And she kind of came up with this analogy of the doubt and fear that I deal with. It's just simply a bubble. And it's never meant to be there permanently, but it's a part of who you are, a part of creating your story, and it's meant to be popped. And so I really kind of kept that mindset for all of my life. I'm a former corporate executive, and a lot of the times that I spend with my clients, I would kind of tell my story, like, hey, you know, you're dealing with a bubble. This is just doubt and fear. It's meant to be popped. And so at one point I was with a client and they were like, you know what, your story is so unique. You should write a book. You should tell that story. And I thought about it and I did. And with going through this journey, I didn't know that it would turn out to be such an amazing kind of movement that I've started. But Robin, tell them a little bit about you and kind of what inspired you and how this relationship even came about.
Okay, well, I'm Robin Pettit, CEO of Robin's Resource Group, my new job. But I came by this job. I was a career counselor at Harper High School in Inglewood of Chicago. I was raised in Chicago, born in Boston. And Inglewood is what they would call inner city at risk. And at the time, quite frankly, some of the things like rapes, crimes, abuse, they had the highest numbers. But I was in IT, moving up in IT in a corporate job. And I was also mentoring at Harper High School. To make a long story short, I turned around. They used to give me, I wouldn't say the most challenging child, but I would only get one. And I'm saying a child that had a 1.5 GPA or whatever. So after I successfully mentored and got them on the right track, because the goal was to get them to graduate from high school, John Ziegler was at Harper High School and Kwesi Lewis Wright was there. And they sat me down. It was like a strategy, like, you need to come and work here. We need you. We got this program. We want to get these kids jobs. They need you. You'll be doing God's work. So it wasn't something that I planned, but I prayed on it. My family thought I was crazy. I took like a $30,000 reduction in salary. I was a realtor, so I figured I can supplement my monies. And I proceeded to do it. And I will honestly say that I went back to corporate America eventually, but I spent 4 years at Harper High School. Those were probably the most rewarding experiences of my entire career.
And look, thanks to you,
I learned.
Author.
Yeah, and now this is like the culmination, but I still keep in touch with a lot of, I call them my students, but they're like grown men. And I think one of the big things that came out of Tony, even though I do still have relationships with a lot of the male students, is that I was able to impression Black young men. And I didn't have any curriculum. I didn't have any of that. I did come with a full understanding that we wanted to change lives. And so between my corporate training, I used on them. Everybody had to have a goal. Everybody had to have a plan. So, and look at this. This guy.
I love it. So Tony, talk to me a little bit about Tony Pops the Bubble, what that means.
It really just means that, ultimately, it's in lame terms that you can do and be anything that you want if you set your mind to it. Doubt and fear is a constant that lives in all of our lives. So it doesn't matter if you are a child trying to find your way, in the world, or you can be an adult just trying to navigate adulthood. It's just simply just an analogy, a theory that we have where, it's all in your mind. It's all about your mindset. It's all about how you see the world. And a part of this book is really more than anything, just to teach people how to believe in themselves. But I also wanted to target on the importance of a positive influence from an adult to a child and the trajectory that it can make, the person that they could become. Robin had absolutely no idea that she had made such an impact on my life. In fact, we hadn't seen each other in about 20 years. But every value, everything that she instilled in me carried me because, I grew up, I love my mom. I have the best relationship with her, but she wasn't able to give me a lot of the things that I needed in order to mature into a responsible adult. And so the point of this book is just to inspire people. It doesn't matter if it's your neighbor, if it's the kid at church. Being a positive influence on a child can really change the way they think, change the way they see the world. And that's kind of a part of this purpose of this book. And it's just to inspire others and just kind of give them the opportunity to kind of see things from a different perspective.
So who was this book for? Talk to me about that. What age group is this book for?
This book is for all ages. Initially, when I wrote this book, I'm also a business consultant, and I initially wrote this book for my clients so that they can understand how I shift my mindset and then to be able to dive into the strategy. So this book is for all ages. And so creating this book, I thought it would be a great idea to create it for children, because obviously the parents are going to read the book. And when they read the book, they're going to get the message. And so it'll be able to create an opportunity to expand the audience, expand the reach in a sense. And so this book is for all ages. I mean, I speak at leadership conferences. I just spoke at a school. This book it has no limits, because we all have doubt and fear.
Robin, what are some of the, from the educator parent perspective, what do you think are some of the advantages or that, that parents would have by getting this book for their children?
Well, one, I think the visuals of the book, when I read it, aside from being in it throughout, and being the cute little lady walking around hallways, I just think the visuals, right? Tony he has a lot of siblings, I think eight siblings. And there's a few illustrations that kind of shows the mother with her children standing around. And for me, that kind of stuck with me, because mothers and fathers, parents or grandmothers or grandfathers, a lot of times they have a lot of weight on them, right? So you only hope that your children can make it. So I think from an educator and parent perspective, I think we have to lead with love, and it's hard sometimes, but we also have to speak positive. Now, I will say, in my experience working in Inglewood and Harper High School, and in Tony's case, a lot of my students had legitimate challenges, had legitimate things going on in their life that they had no control over. A drug addiction, somebody they didn't have breakfast that morning. But what I tried to do is show empathy, but also show that in this world, you came into this world alone. So therefore, let's see what you can do. And once you get to where you get, then maybe you can come back and help your mother and your siblings. And to be quite frankly, that's how I did it. I was like, let's talk about them for a minute, but let's talk about putting a plan in place so you won't repeat the cycle. But I think for parents, in education, I think getting this book and reading it to your child, and then saying, which bubble do you want to pop with mom today or dad today? Because you have to, we all have insecurities, but we have to learn to manage them. And I think he does a good job of that, showing how he evolved, but also showing the weaknesses as well, and showing that there is struggle. There's just struggle. We all have struggle.
And so, I think it's also a very full circle moment to take a troubled young man as a mentor educator and to now see him as a grown man with the book that was inspired. You helped an at-risk youth get to a place where this brother is now an author and worked in corporate America, so on and so forth. And that is valuable. So I say this to y'all in the Funky Bunch. Some of y'all know y'all kids raggedy. Some of you know y'all kids illiterate. Some of y'all got kids around y'all that just have personal struggles in the areas of self-esteem or life circumstances. Some of y'all are foster parents. Some of y'all have adopted kids. Some of y'all got kids that don't quite fit in with the other kids at school. Some of y'all got kids. This book is for them. All right. If you got a child that you want to motivate and inspire to pop their own personal bubble, then this book is for you. And parents, it's for you as well to help read and pop bubbles with your kids. And all of y'all in my comments, let me tell y'all bitches something. It's some horny ass old women in this damn chat. The man is up here trying to sell books. Okay? The man is up here trying to, he's so bad. He's so bad. Ooh, is somebody, one of y'all hoes on here nasty talking about, can I drain him? Yeah, I'm gonna have the moderators block you. But here's the thing, we'll take money however we could get it. You can buy the book because you genuinely want it, or you can buy the book because he's fine. Either way, we don't give a damn. Just buy the damn book, okay? And you can go to TonyOWilliams.com. The website is down at the bottom, and it will live in the description box of this video forever. Tony, before we get off the line, and Robin, is there anything you guys would like to share with the audience before we get out of here?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you again for having me. I appreciate the love. But one thing that I do want to mention is that I have launched a journal. It's called the Pop the Bubble Journal, which, when you read the book, you have the opportunity to learn how I pop my bubble. But I thought it was very important that we create a tool that people can be able to use to be able to navigate their own trauma and be able to identify what their bubbles are that they need to pop. And so this is something that I've been able to implement in a lot of schools across the country. I've been doing a lot of work here in Georgia and in Alabama. And so I want to definitely put the plug out for any educators, any teachers, any superintendents. If you are interested in bringing this book to your school, definitely I would love the opportunity to connect. We are expanding, we are growing. This is more than just a book. I want to make this very clear. I'm excited about the opportunity of having these books purchased. But what I'm really trying to do is make an impact on a greater scale in our community. And it starts within our educational system. And I think that with a lot of the changes that are happening within this political climate, we need a voice. We need people that look like us, and we need a fresh sound to the ears of those kids. And so this book, with this book, I have a movement that I've created where we go out to schools, we speak to students, we speak to educators, and we uncover what their bubbles are, and we pop it. If you go to my Instagram page, Tony Pops the Bubble, you'll see some of the content of what we're doing.
Keep talking about popping bubbles with these horny ass women over here.
I can't wait to see the comments.
But yes, I would love to partner.
Pop.
You guys are making me blush, but I appreciate the love. But this is greater than this work is greater than me. It's greater than just purchasing books. I want you guys to help be a part of this movement. So you can find out more information about what we're doing at Tony Pops the Bubble, or you can go to my website at thetonywilliams.com. Email me and we can figure out how we can connect in your city.
I love everything about this. Robin and Tony, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tony.
And Tony, please be in touch. And Robin, the next time you come to Atlanta, I'm gonna come out the house that time and meet y'all.
Yes, come out the house. I have been following you since Fox Soul.
I love it. I love it. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
You too. Love you, bro.
I love you back. Y'all so doggone silly. Okay, and Tony don't want to pop y'all cherry. He want to pop my berry. Okay, and we gonna leave it at that. Okay, that's all y'all need to know. He don't want to pop your cherry. He want to pop my berry. Okay, from the bike. Okay, from the bike, bitch. Yes, and quiet as it's kept. That bitch so fine. I got a man. What your man got to do with me? I got a man. I'm not trying to hear this. See, I got a. All right, guys, I think we got all the heavy lifting out the way as far as the show. And speaking about popping somebody berry, according to these court documents, Tyler Perry might be a top. Okay, we just talking about the court documents. Okay, let me preface by saying, me personally, my official stance on all of this is Tyler Perry has to be protected. He just does. Tyler Perry has to be protected. He just does. Like, he's just too much of an inspirational and economic pillar in the Black community for him to be brought down. Now, I know that, you know, I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt, we are able to now quantify, and the evidence suggests that it is hunting season on Black successful men. And the funny thing about it is, you know, we always reference buck breaking and how, you know, the Black man on the plantation was made to look like he could not protect his family and look weak in front of his woman and his children and all of those different things. And I feel like on a Project 2025 type of conspiracy plan level, that's what's going on with Black men of influence and power. There is somebody that's part of the dominant power structure that said, we need to humble and disenfranchise Negroes across the board. They're gaining too much footing. Oh my Lord, we're under attack. Barack Obama became president. That was the last straw. These Negroes are progressing far more than we are comfortable with, and we need to level them a little bit. Okay? I do believe that is going on. However, I also believe that many of us are making it easy for them to bring us down. I am also starting to realize that Brown Goddess says, stop giving rich black men so much credit. You know, while I want to agree with you, girl, we got so few of them. I mean, what the hell? You know, I don't know what to make of this story, right? Because let me tell you guys my moral confliction in this moment. My moral confliction is that I don't want to contribute to the demise of Tyler Perry. Right? On the flip side of things, as more details about this stuff is coming to the surface, it's feeling like there's tinges of truth to some of it. I think based on the court documents, most reasonable people would agree. I don't think he did anything criminal, but definitely inappropriate. All right. The text messaging is inappropriate. And we already know how this is going to play out on the Tyler Perry legal defense side. It's going to play out that, oh, the messages were taken out of context, that they were friends, and, you know, the white guy betrayed Tyler. They've already set us up for that legal defense. But as more and more stuff begins to come out, in court documents, Dixon states that Perry inquired about his sexual preferences and in his role in the bedroom. He claims that Perry said he had been intimate with men before, and during that time, he was a top. Quoted saying, when you have a big dick and you hit the G-spot just right on these bottoms, they go crazy. Dixon alleges Perry said. Guys, he also says Perry went to explain why he prefers being sexually active with men who are in relationships, stating he doesn't have time for emotional connections, but being physical is fine. Dixon felt that if he outright refused Perry's comments and alleged advances, he would be cut from the Oval. He claims Perry had written into the script that his character would be shot several times in the chest. He alleges that when he discussed this with Perry, Perry hinted that Dixon could continue on the show if he did a good job, and that being shot didn't necessarily mean his character would die. Dixon believes Perry did this to test his loyalty, claiming that Perry has previously killed off characters in an attempt to make actors more loyal or obedient. It feels like a casting couch situation based on the text. Okay. Now, just because this man wrote it and went down to the court and filed it, don't mean it's true. But for the sake of this conversation, let's just assume that that is an accurate account of what happened. Then yes, by reading that and sitting down with my boss that has made sexual advances to me, and he suggests that my character won't be killed off if I do a good job, it does make a case for it to be some wrongdoing. Somebody in the comments said, take it from me, an attorney, that it is criminal. She said, not just criminal, it's a felony. I'm just not understanding how Tyler Perry found himself in this situation. And what's weird about it, and we can't negate the fact, is that so many times our Black men find themselves in these situations screwing around with a white man or a white woman. It's just, this just don't look good. It don't look good. It don't feel good. And where there's smoke, there's fire. There is no way in hell I'm just going to sit up here and blindly be like Tyler Perry didn't do none of it. Okay. There's no way in hell I'm not going to sit up here. Excuse me. I'm not going to sit up here and be like, Tyler, you may have done something a little bit inappropriate. I think that most of us can agree that some of these text messages and correspondences and conversations are just a little too far. I don't give a damn. By no circumstance whatsoever should anybody who employs people should ever use the word horny in a conversation. If somebody asks you, what are some of the side effects of you using testosterone, I think the appropriate way to respond to that, if I'm somebody's boss or organization head, is to say that it gives me increased energy and I did recognize increased sex drive. I think that is a more workplace friendly way of describing the side effects and not reiterating the words, oh, it makes me so horny. Yeah, I like it, but it just has me so horny. And then when you layer that, and again, the text messages may be taken out of context. We may be seeing things added and deleted. But when you layer that with the other messages, and now what he's saying, he said, it makes it believable. And here is the thing about these cases these days and times. It don't even matter. It don't even matter if the person is found guilty or not, because the damage to their reputation has already been done. And do y'all notice, I've been noticing a pattern now with these types of cases, is that bam, they drop the initial lawsuit filing, and then across weeks' times, they start dropping more and more salacious breadcrumbs. It is definitely a campaign to ruin. And I just hate that Tyler Perry got so comfortable with this guy that it even allowed it to go this far. The appearance of impropriety is enough. And it doesn't make it better that in the court of public opinion, that there is a group of people over there in the corner that have been dying for Tyler Perry to come out, or for him to be open, or for the truth to be revealed. Like, there is a group of people over there that just need that in order to be whole. And they're going to believe all of this because that's the eye by which they're approaching this story at. If I'm being honest, because I know the nature of men, and I know the nature of gay men, and I know the nature of men who are attracted to men that have power and money, a lot of what the guy is saying feels consistent with a lot of other situations that I've known people to be in life. I will say it's, in this situation, unfortunately, it's easier for me to believe it than to not believe it. It's easier for me to believe it than to not believe it. And I think at a later date, we need to take a deeper dive into Men, power, and sex. I think that there's an interesting dynamic that we need to discuss about when men in particular garner a lot of power and money, and they can have any and everything that they want. Somehow or another, their brains then shift to them wanting things that they can't have or aren't supposed to have. And I don't know if that's because life gets boring. I don't know if that we're psychologically wired to chase what we can't have. I don't know if they can no longer get high off of buying specific things, but there seems to be a thing with men in particular. I don't know, and I'm pretty sure women abuse power and wealth too, but there is something about men just feeling like they can have and go get by any means necessary anything and anybody they want, and who are you to refuse me? And if you do, there will be hell to pay. I also think, though, you fell for it, Tyler, because I also believe that people like him played right into it. And he always knew how far he was and wasn't going to go with you. But he knew, that boy knew he was going to cozy up to you and get you to trust him so he could collect information, experiences, damages, and checks at the same damn time. And it's unfortunate because, Tyler, your position in the Black community through your movies, your plays, and your art is one of moral correctness. It's one that's rooted in what would Jesus do. And then we're seeing situations where you're looking to be not that moral. Somebody said, I think it's about dominance. Now, here is one thing, and y'all may hate me for this, and I'm probably gonna catch a lot of flack for this. Cubano said, shake my head off, victim blaming. Unpopular opinion. Men aren't victims in these situations to the degree women are. Men are not victims in these types of situations to the degree. Calling this, there's nothing in my bone marrow that makes me remotely want to call this boy a victim. There is nothing in my bone marrow that makes me look at this boy and say victim. And I know that it's a double standard, and some may find it ignorant. You are not going to be able to convince me at all that this boy went home and lost an ounce of sleep. I know men too well. And quite frankly, that ain't the nature of white men. When you say the word victim, I imagine somebody home, crawled up, crying. This is opportunist. This is opportunist, because here is the other thing that I want to be made known about bisexual men, gay men who accost straight men or others. Is this guy supposed to be straight? Is he straight or gay or somewhere in the middle? I'm not sure. But here is one thing I know from my 41 years of lived experience. I don't give a good goddamn how much money or power the said gay guy is. If the other guy on the receiving end, what are you guys barking at? If the other guy on the receiving end does not, being gay, there is a constant fear that we have of being gay bashed, of being treated as less than, as being humiliated. It's a lot of y'all husbands, Tyler Perry or somebody like Tyler Perry would never make no advances on because they give off the energy that I'm not with the shit. Okay? You wanted to dance with the devil. You wanted to dance with the devil. And you never once shut the shit down before it got that damn far. You never shut it down before it got that damn far because you liked it. And you knew you could get something out of it. And we don't talk about this enough. We don't talk about this enough. How straight guys play in the face of gay boys to get shit. And yes, it's the gay boys' fault because they shouldn't be so weak for straight dick. All right. And that's a whole nother conversation we got to talk about. There are so many gay men available that look just like this damn boy. Why is it that you got a fixation for the straight ones and the ones you can't have when you can just go get a gay one? I ain't never been one of those type of punks. I eavesdrop on conversations sometimes where people be like, oh, and I got this straight, oh, this my straight nigga calling me. He's not straight, love, if he's calling you. And that's something that we got to talk about in the gay community. And I guess it comes from internalized hatred. But we have that very bad in the gay community, wanting somebody else's husband. Feeling more valuable if you was able to feeling like you did something because you screwing that lady husband. Somehow that make you, the more straight he is, somehow you feel empowered. And it's sickness to me. That shit is sickness to me, baby. I don't want nobody that don't want me. I don't want to be nobody's secret. And it don't make me feel good that I'm sleeping with DL Trade. And it don't make me feel fishy that I'm some married man's secret. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. I just don't understand for the life of me how people find themselves in these types of situations. And this may sound ignorant, and it does make it worse that he's white. For me, it makes it worse. There's just an extra level of staying. There's just an extra level of sick on it that he's white. And what does race have to do with it? A lot. A lot. I'm going to move right along. So I'm just going to do a quick hit on this. Masika and Hazel E are attempting to do a sit down again. And it's a very long trailer. I'm not going to play the music because it may get me demonetized. If y'all don't know Masika and Hazel E, they're from Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. They had a, very long-standing beef. They sat down. With one of the networks before and tried to do a little thing, and it ended up in fighting. They're trying to do another sit down, and here is the more poignant takeaway from this story. So I thought, because this is giving Zues. I was like, here goes Zues with another damn show. It's not Zues. It's Ray J and Princess Love, and I guess they've started their own network. Here is the problem for me. I developed a way to compartmentalize Zeus, to be all right with Zeus, and to just say, Q, Zeus is for those people over there in the corner. What I was not ready for is a bunch of mini Zeuses to now spring up and to now use the Zeus formula, which is bring people on just to fight. Me and my boyfriend, we bump heads because Sunday is his Zeus day. He and his friends, Sunday is their Zeus day, where they sit on the phone. I already know on Sundays I can't bother, or he's not going to pay me much attention because he's watching all of his shows, and I've just grown to be comfortable with it. I go in the other room or whatever because it's not my thing. And if I'm going to be honest, at the beginning of our relationship, it actually was a bit of a turnoff for me because I deemed it anti-intellectual. I did. I, in my personal life, outside of my boyfriend, I don't have nobody that watches none of that. All right. And I have my opinions about it. This past Sunday, when I was at his house, we were laying on the sofa and I went to Birmingham. So, you can't go to other people's house and tell them what to do. And so he was like, I'll watch my shows later. I said, nah, we at your house. This is what you do. Go ahead and watch your shows. And so I'm laying there, just trying to bond and just trying to get into it. And Choco just came on the show. They're doing Baddies Africa. And I'm sorry, I thought y'all felt the way about the Americans and y'all were more regal and more queen-like. And I was just so displeased and shocked to realize that the African girls over there are just as down with the BS as the Americans. And I thought y'all was supposed to be better than. I just never would have thought somebody from the continent of Africa would have participated in something like this because they always, present on, their queen things, and those y'all Western women are a mess. And it's kind of like, no, y'all really do eat up African-American culture over there. But nevertheless, I'm sitting there watching it because I don't understand the premise of the show. And the girl Choco walked into the room to get in her bed, and the girl Body the Diamond punched the girl in the face. And so I looked at my boyfriend. I'm like, what just happened? I was like, is this what this show is about? The girl was new. The girl didn't know none of the girls. She was new to the house. Dolly got beef with Diamond. Dolly brought the new girl to the room to show the girl where her bed was, and Body the Diamond punched the girl in the damn face. And I was like, what is this? And I'm looking at him like, is this what the show is? You just punch people whenever you want or whatever. I was like, what? I kept trying to get to the premise of the show. And from what I could deduce, the show is literally about picking fights with people and instigating whatever you can to figure out a reason to fight somebody. I could not imagine, like I just did an episode of Married to Medicine for Contessa Party. They mic'd me up and everything. I could not imagine them people calling me saying, Funky Dineva, your call time is at 7:30. And I am getting my outfit together knowing I'm going today to fight. Like, don't get me wrong here. I think anybody, if put in the right situation, will fight. Y'all not scared to get hurt? Like, this is a real question. Y'all not scared to get hurt? Like, I'm scared to get hurt. Me personally, like, I don't want to be punched in the eye. I don't. I am going to avoid getting into a fight by all means necessary, because this is going to go one or two ways. Either I'm going to win or I'm going to get my ass beat. And there is a 50-50 chance. Them odds ain't good. And you're going to claw my face or to punch me. I don't want to be punched. I don't want to be punched. I don't want to go in any environment and run the risk of my eye being swollen. When Body the Diamond punched Choco, that girl eye swole closed within 5 minutes. It just swole closed. The next scene they at dinner, the girl got glasses on. I just don't understand what is appealing about any of that. But I guess fame is one hell of a drug. Like the girl Rolly, I was watching it. I enjoyed her personality a little bit. I enjoyed Rolly's personality. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed her personality a lot of bit. She come off as a real ass chick, and I appreciated it. But it just got to be. And then here's the thing that got me. Then Body the Diamond said, "Oh my gosh, she just dug her finger in my eye." And then the other girl was like, "Yeah, I dug my finger in her eye and it felt real squishy." No, ma'am, this is not okay. Having your eye dug out is not okay. You could have lost your vision behind something that's paying you a couple $1,000s an episode at best. How many of y'all watched the Zues stuff? I don't know how y'all like it. I just don't know how y'all like watching people act like that. Guys, we got a story that I'm glad ended up in a good way, but this man bungee jumps off of a bridge holding his 2-year-old daughter. Take a look.
Okay, ready. Okay, go. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, ready.
This is not okay by any stretch of the imagination, okay? And even if I wanted to make it okay, let's just say I wanted to make this okay. Let's just say I wanted to make this okay. Why isn't the baby in a harness? Why isn't the baby in a harness, strapped to his harness? At least you could have that argument in the court of public opinion that the child was not in any major safety concerns because they were harnessed in. Me, as a responsible adult, and I've never been bungee jumping, but simply by watching this, the first thing going through my mind was, what if in the middle of this bungee jumping situation, the cord pulls in such a way that you have an involuntary body response and you release clutch of the child? Nobody thought about that. All these people sitting around. Name a world. First of all, my youngest niece, when I take them to Dave and Buster's and stuff, when we get in the shooting game together and it got monsters on it, she run at the thing. I don't put all $5 worth of damn quarters in this damn thing, and she don't want to play no more. When we go to the amusement park, there are certain rides for kids. I be wanting to get on with her, and she be like, "No, Uncle Quentin, that's too scary." There is not a 2-year-old alive that would have found this pleasurable or that asked to do this. This is child endangerment at its finest. Maybe had the child been 9 or 10 years old, and I would have been like, okay, he's got a badass child that wants to be a daredevil or whatever. This is not acceptable. Forcing a child to do this was not this child's idea. And all for what? I need to know the why. What's the why behind this? This is an experience that could have waited. It's reckless, and his ass needs to be thrown up under the jail. I want to get to this. K. Michelle talks about interracial dating on this man's show.
Ever dated outside your race?
Yes, that's all I would like to do.
Now?
Yes.
Okay.
I've always told my sisters to go where they are loved. And I've always told Black women to be open to dating, even outside of their race. I love Black love, and I would like that. But to see my African-American women sitting around waiting on a Black man as he chooses whoever he wants to choose, I want Black men to do, if they were a Black woman, to build a Black family. I'm not the girl that sits up there and looks at the Black man when he date a white woman or date someone and say, "Ooh, you can't do that." White men love me. Like, white men love me. And that is just...
Once you go Black. I love that for you.
You do?
I swear on everything.
Tell me why you love that for me.
Have you ever...
Love that for me. Come on, for that.
I'm an opponent of happy. Don't tell me you married.
I'm not.
If you can't tell me that you're happily married. Don't tell me you're in a relationship.
Oh, but they gonna tell you they married. I've been married, but you are miserable.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Frost Bistro. It reminds me of the Rashida being in Atlanta all this time and then going to Nashville, where it's predominantly white. One, they go home at 5 and 6 o'clock when they're producing because they go home to their families.
I found this
being a country singer. If you are a singer in country music, you're a man. If you are not married, it is not respected. Family is respected in country music in that space. But in our space, we are singing about side chicks. We are glorifying a lot of women. That's not what happens in Nashville. You can't call a woman a bitch or hoe in Nashville because they'll never even listen to your music and your professional career will suffer. At what point in the Black community do our men create real homes? Being in Atlanta all this time and then going to Nashville, where it's predominantly, at what point is the successful Black men in this world going to step in and really create structure? I see white men doing it every day. I get to witness the best of both worlds every day. Getting on stage singing R&B, being here in Atlanta, I get to sing R&B, but then I get to go to Nashville and be like, you mean you ain't staying out till 6 in the morning? You gonna go home to your family? You gonna write this song and leave at 5 and 6 because you gonna take care of your family and your wife? At what point do the successful Black men build Black families? We ain't at what?
So, there's a lot to unpack here, right? I think the overall sentiment is, I think a lot of people who have the same experience with Black men that K. Michelle have buy into this sentiment, okay? And I have had to unpack, I'm going to be very clear and very transparent here. I have had to unpack my disdain for Black men as well and where it comes from. And I had to do a lot of digging to realize that you cannot take your limited experience, and I don't care who you are, when it comes to how vast the world is, whatever experience on this planet that you've had, it's limited compared to the entire world. You can't take your limited experience of Black men and apply it to the whole group. However, there is something in common with K. Michelle that a lot of people can relate to. I think the only thing that gets left out of the conversation when we begin to talk about what Black men need to do and how Black men are jacked up and how you can't start the story in the middle, right? Like you can't start the story in the middle. It's not that Black men are just inherently bad people. It's not that Black men are just inherently sorry. It's not that Black men inherently don't want families. That's not the case. There is a lot of things that happened to Black men in particular that have not happened to anybody else on this soil that directly contributes to the state of Black men in 2025, okay? And look, not to say that things have not happened to Black women as well, but somebody said post-traumatic slave disorder. There's a lot. I don't think, somebody put excuses. I mean, I don't know. Here is what I will say. A lot of people have that same experience with Black men that K. Michelle does. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I have not been a part of communities or circles in my life with the type of upstanding Black men that she and a lot of people would aspire to marry. I have not seen that. Like, obviously, I'm from inner city Miami, so I've been around niggas. And then I, come to Atlanta and, you see a lot of success here, but it's just niggas with success that still buy into the misogyny, still buy into the side pieces in the holes, that don't value family. That has been my experience of Black men as well. And I am one. All right. However, I am smart enough to know that that's not all of us, okay? But I just have not had the privilege. I have never in 41 years of my life have had the privilege of being in like all Black male spaces or in Black community spaces where the men were just great. So I understand how a lot of people can have this experience. And I hate that my brothers catch a bad rep. And I hate it sometimes when I get on here and lay their ass out. You know what I'm saying? Because it definitely is some, not all. But the unfortunate thing is that the bad ones are the ones that get the most visibility. And sadly, that's what we perpetuate. I began to side-eye K. Michelle just a little bit in this quote when she started talking about, in their music, you can't call nobody a bitch or a hoe, it would damage your career. But K. Michelle, you are also the queen of the bitch and the hoe and buying into that type of culture. It's in your music. It's in your vocabulary. It's in the way you act. You quick to let a bitch know you from Memphis. And so it's weird because there is a level of, and I'm not saying this applies to her, but there can be an argument to be made that there could be a level of self-hate in there too, because the very thing that you called out is the very thing that you contribute to when you over here on the Black side of things. Somebody said in her past, we all evolve. That's true. And I don't know. People got upset with me when I said I felt safer at FSU people got upset with me when I said I felt safer at FSU around white people than I ever thought I could at FAM around Black people. That was my experience. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird because somebody pointed out to me one time, they were like, they found it diabolical with all the racism going on in the world that I could make a statement like I felt more comfortable over there with white people than I did with blacks, right? And it happens sometimes. It happens. Like when you continuously have a negative experience in interactions with a certain group of people, and then you go over here to these people over here and you don't have that same negative experience, it can trick you. Keyword trick. It can trick you into believing the grass is greener on the other side. In my case, being gay was my scarlet letter. And I've come to realize through therapy and just introspection, I don't like hood black men in particular, because those were the ones that growing up did not accept me, beated me up, treated me bad, made me feel like other. Those were the ones when in high school, if I knew they were hanging out at this end of the hallway, I would just go to my class another way to just circumvent from being badgered. So when it was time for me to go to college, I was like, bitch, I don't want to go to FAMU around all them niggas. And subsequently, not being educated about HBCUs, I'm not going to lie, and I'm being honest, and don't attack me here because this is not what I believe anymore, but this is what I believed at that time. I also thought that FAMU was a lesser school because it was black. And this is the 17-year-old me talking, not understanding the world. I thought it was a lesser school because it was black. And because all of the people who looked like the people who traumatized me in school were accepted to FAM and they were going to FAM, I was like, over my dead body, would I ever go to that type of school? So Joy says that's self-hate, Funky. I don't know that it's self-hate more as I would not classify it as self-hate. All right. I would not classify it as self-hate. I would classify it as Danger Will Robinson. All right. If the nigga with the gold chain and the dreads was always the one trying to beat me up, then I'm going to lump all they ass in the same box. I don't know that that's self-hate. Maybe it is. I don't know. But that was how I felt at the time. You know what I'm saying? And obviously I've evolved from it. But still, when I'm around that faction of the black male community, it still triggers me. If I go to a gas station and them niggas standing out there in front of the gas station, bitch, I'll run the risk of having my car on E before I go to that. I don't want to be around them type of niggas. I don't. Even to this day, I don't. And I know that it's something that I kind of got to work on, but them, I don't mess with them. I don't mess with them. And because that was the sticking point for me with black people, I'm not going to lie to you. White appeared to be better because they never cared. So it was like, whoo, I can breathe over here. No one's bullying me. No one's badgering me. No one's harassing me for being different. Woo, I can breathe over here. That was my experience, especially at that age. I know better now, but that was my experience. And if I'm being very honest with you, for where I was at that point in my life, I didn't need to be around black people. I didn't. I needed a break so I could evolve and develop outside of the confines of bullying and harassment. So that 4-year reprieve was great because it created a space for me to not have to deal with that every day. And I know for a fact, if I, at that time, would have gone to an HBCU, the experience would have been an extension of high school. How could it not have been? The same damn people that was there went there. So it's a lot, it's a lot to unpack here, but you know, I think it's the same with her. I think, you know, K. Michelle has had a limited experience with a certain type of black man or certain types of black men where the areas where those black men trigger her are not triggered by those white men over there. And that's why she's like, oh, they love me and it's so great over there. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird, right? Because I will say this, especially from those of us who come from, you know, humble beginnings. There are some elements of white culture where they just kick our ass. There are some, you know, there are some areas where white people are far more evolved than us. And again, it's not because they're better. It's because they just had the luxury of having softer lives and being able to do that. There are areas of life where white people are better. And maybe those areas is where she's finding excitement and joy. And it was for me. White folks were better at accepting gay people. They were. And I'm not saying it's all, but collectively, I felt being black and gay, I don't know why, I felt safer with them than I did with y'all. So somebody said, I think that's one of the reasons our men gravitate towards white women. I'm not even gonna get y'all riled up with that, but the issue is very complicated. It is very complicated. It's complicated because when you look at the fact that somebody's like, Q, how could you feel safer with a group of people who many would deem collectively racist? That doesn't make sense. Well, it did make sense. Here is why. They didn't exercise their racism every day, and whatever the hell they did was racist. They did it behind closed doors. So it was the illusion of peace and happiness. And at that time, baby, just give me the illusion. And it worked. And I wasn't re-traumatized. Let's move on to this story right here, which I found to be very sad. A mom and two men are headed to prison after handcuffing her 6-year-old son and then allowing the pit bull to maul it. In a disturbing child abuse case in Ohio, 3 adults, including the boy's mom, are now facing serious prison time after a 6-year-old boy was brutally attacked by a pit bull while handcuffed and unable to defend himself. The incident happened August 1924 in Savannah. According to People, the statement from the Ashland County Prosecutor's Office says the boy's mother, her boyfriend, and the homeowner were all involved. Prosecutors say the trio restrained the child's wrists and ankles, leaving him helpless, before Maliski's pit bull mauled him. Michaliski reportedly fled with the dog and was found hiding days later under a police search. He was convicted of complicity to endanger a child and tampering with evidence and will be sentenced July 21st. He's facing up to 9 years behind bars. Williams and Marvin Brown pled guilty to all 7 charges against him, including child endangerment. Their sentencings are scheduled for June 30th, and they each could face up to 40 years in prison. Despite the trauma, there's a glimmer of hope. The young boy survived, and he and his sister are now living safely under the care of a legal guardian. All right. Oh, I didn't have a picture up the whole time I was reading this. So we already know what this is, right? I mean, can we not look at the meth and the drugs? Like, can we just not already just look at the meth? So the one in the middle he was high when this picture was taken. This one right here looked like one of them Marvel characters, the one to the right. And she ought to be ashamed of herself. Let me tell you something. I ain't never had no kids. And I can't speak on what level of attachment a mom should or should not have to her child, okay? But at a minimum, I am going to make allowance for the fact that some people don't have maternal instinct. And I'm going to make allowance for the fact that some people just don't even like and want their kids. And that's okay. Life happens. You pushed out a baby. You ain't got no connection to it. You don't like it. You don't want it. You despise it being here. What I can't wrap my head around is that in the midst of that, at the most fundamental of levels, that you don't see it as human. In what world did you guys think it was okay to handcuff a child and to just let the dog attack it for, and is this for entertainment purposes? I'm just not understanding how something like this gets to this point. And how also you get 3 people to buy into this. How do you get 2 other? I can make an allowance for one person being sick and out their mind. How you get 2 other adults to buy into this? They say that Tina told them to do it. Probably did. And when I went to Florida State University and got my degree in economics, them people ain't teach me nothing about family counseling and therapy. But I am willing to believe that there is no amount of therapy that'll ever make somebody forget at 6 years old, the person that was supposed to protect them, handcuff them, and allowed a dog to maul them. That's just something that just sounds like something to me that you ever get rid of, that you ever get past. Somebody said they could have sold him. Quiet as it's kept. Well, I don't know if that's better depending on what they sold him into. Let me see how many stories we got left here. We got 2 stories. I might as well just go ahead and do them. So the second to last story is, and thanks to all 8,000 of y'all that's rocking with me for 2 hours. Wendy Williams' ex-husband files a $250 million lawsuit against her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, requesting a jury trial and seeking a release from guardians. It has become a weapon and not a shield. Oh my God. You know, this is such a double-edged sword, right? Because Kevin is doing the right thing for the wrong reason. Let me say that again. Kevin is doing the right thing for the wrong reason, because you're not going to convince me to believe that Kevin gives a damn about Wendy's well-being and what them people doing with her money. Kevin wants Wendy's money untied so he can continue to get payments. And based on that Wendy Williams movie and based on Wendy Williams' behavior for this man, I'm not going to lie to you. I can see a world where if Kevin was successful in overturning this, especially in Wendy's current mental state, that it would soften her to the point of being more open to giving him money. I can see a world. I can see a world where Kevin, if he's able to get her out of this guardianship situation, it triggers that knight in shining armor thing that y'all women love. And it triggers that I always got your back. Kevin always came around and rescued me. I could see it triggering that part of Wendy. I don't like it though. I don't like it at all. But then it's also making me wonder too, and we can't put everything on the niece because she's only got the bandwidth to do so much. And with Wanda being a lawyer, it just makes me wonder why they didn't do something like this before, or maybe they didn't know that this was even an option, and maybe it isn't an option. I don't, maybe this is something that the judge is going to laugh at and throw it away. I don't know enough about the legal system and this stuff to know, but this is weird. Last but not least, guys, and we're going to get out of here. I can't believe my throat's starting to hurt now. Last but not least, things got pretty heated on The View when Whoopi Goldberg described Black people in America having it just as bad as the people in Iran. Take a look and let's see where y'all fall on this with this commentary.
And it's slow.
But let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
Where the Iranian regime is 2 days, is nothing compared to the United States.
Hanging Black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step foot during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Toronto.
I'm sorry.
No, I can't have my hair showing. I can't wear a skirt. I can't have my arms out.
I'm telling you,
I literally said it was up to the Iranian people.
Yes,
it is up to them.
And that's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good. Whoever does it, it's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're Black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're Black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not, no one at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world. But yeah, I know that. And we all know that. But every day we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood? They are not big deals, and I don't mean to say they're not big deals to you, because that's not what I meant.
And they are not doing well there either. They are not doing well in Iran. They are not educated. They cannot property. They cannot leave States.
I'm talking about here.
Nobody wants to diminish the very real problems we have in this country. That is no one's intent. But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. When you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you understand.
Let me try something. It's like try to reverse roles with a Black person in this country.
I'm gonna end it there. So listen, here's the thing. I have learned, and I was having a conversation with Amanda Seals. I have learned that being in this space and talking to the masses sometimes, that you can't use the most extreme of examples to try to get through to people. And then there's also just some people that there is just no getting through to. What I find so bothersome when having conversations oftentimes with white people about the state of affairs with Black people is they instantly get on the defensive. They don't want to hear it. Their minds are already made up that we carry a victim mentality, and they are just not open whatsoever to the idea of we having a different experience. And because they have the luxury of being the dominant culture, they never have to code switch. They never have to change who they are to fit in any environment. And I think it blinds them because they believe that everybody navigates this land the same way they do, and they don't. Now, I can't get mad at somebody for understanding what they don't understand. People can't understand your life if they've never lived it. However, It also bothers me that there are white people who go out of their way to diminish our experience, because to acknowledge our experience is to acknowledge their own complicity. Okay. And there's nothing that there's one thing. They love the benefits of racism. They love the benefits of it. But how dare you label them racist? They love all the card-carrying privileges of it. But how dare you label? And here is the deeper thing. If that girl was to agree with Whoopi, then it would force her to have to look in the mirror and assess her role in it all, and her family's role in it all, and her friends' role in it all. And they don't want to do that because that's uncomfortable. And I like being uncomfortable. I like being willfully ignorant. I like being rich. I like it being, don't destabilize my world. Don't destabilize my environment. Nope, it doesn't exist. Nope, 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 nope. I also find it odd that certain people can get on platforms and they can sympathize so hard when human rights atrocities are happening to people all over the world, because yeah, it looks horrific. But let's be clear here. Running through a neighborhood and getting shot is equally horrific as sitting in your job and a bomb bombing the building. You don't believe me? Ask the family of the deceased. The energy is the same. Now, in fairness to the white lady, is the fear level of being a day-to-day African American, is the fear level the same as the country being at war and you worrying about a bomb bombing me on the roof? No, the fear level is not the same. Okay, we not finna do that. And I think that that's where the disconnect was. The fear level is not the same. However, terror is terror. The energy is. The fear level may not be the same. But I think what Whitney was trying to convey, Whoopi was trying to convey, is that there are people here domestically that are on high alert every day about their safety as well. And in that regard, they do share that in common. I think the example was a little extreme, probably designed to rile feathers and go viral. I think that the example was a little probably too extreme for that platform, especially when the goal is not to be right, but to break through to people. But the fear level is, yeah, she said Alyssa was splitting hairs. Most definitely she was splitting hairs. Most definitely. And then Steph said, Q, yes, it is when you have children. And Steph, I'm just going to have to defer to you and say you're probably right because I don't have them. So you're right. Even though I have nieces and nephews, there's another layer of defense there. I don't know what it's like for my child to not be in my presence and then you be worried about something. So, you know, maybe you are right about that. Nevertheless, guys, 2 hours. Ooh. Bitch, y'all better not let Tamar call me tomorrow and say they want to go eat, bitch. I might have to call in on y'all hoes. Nah, I ain't gonna do y'all like that. Anyway, I will call y'all later. Bye.